So there were new numbers out earlier today from Time Inc. $44 million loss reported in the second quarter compared to $18 million a year ago. The company's looking, meantime, at more than $400 million in cost cuts. You see the stock down 4.5%. The president of Time Inc., president and CEO, is Rich Battista, who's been kind enough to come into the studio and join us, talk a little bit, as I said before the last break, about the media industry. So good to see you, Rich. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, it's interesting. The industry has been hit by a lot of different things, right? And obviously you're being hit by some of them to the extent that you have to make all of these cost cuts. What hurt you most in this most recent period before we get big picture?
Well, look, we're a company that's going through actually a pretty interesting transformation, right? We were for 90-plus years, 85 to 90-plus years, basically a print magazine company. But what we've done is transform now into a multi-platform consumer media company. So print is still a very powerful platform for us, but print is challenged. There are revenue declines in the print business. But what we've done, and which actually a lot of people don't know, is we've built tremendous revenues on the other side of the equation. So we mentioned
Meaning digital.
Yeah, we have $1 billion of revenue that's primarily digital, also brand extension kinds of revenues, where we take our quality brands, and we're actually going to do 40 hours of television programming this year for a number of networks. We do events. We do short-form video.
We produce shows for other networks.
Leveraging our brands.
For example?
So the exciting one to mention today is tomorrow night we are premiering on the ABC network a 2-night, 4-hour special on the life of Princess Diana.
Oh, okay.
With the People brand.
So that's produced by you guys.
Exactly.
And that's something that's going to be a bigger
that's
project?
a new revenue stream for us. So we see real growth opportunities there for us.
Okay. Now, I mentioned cost cuts, which is another thing that a lot of people in the industry have to deal with, and doing more with less, and having to fire employees, for lack of a better term. So obviously that's difficult. But for someone who wants to get into this industry or is thinking about media, what do you say to them today? Because to your point that you started to make, you kind of you do a little bit of everything, right? Yeah, there's 2 points I'd say. One is you do need to be much more versatile today. One of the things that, and I can speak specific to our company, what attracts people to our company is the fact that we are multi-platform. So when we talk to a young journalist or an editor or a producer, they now can work on a print product. They can work on a digital website. They can work on a television program. They can work on an event or a live experience. That sort of, I like to call it the 5-tool player that they have in baseball, is a great way for us to motivate people to come to us. Does it hurt quality at all? I mean, for example, I feel like I'm not that old, but I don't know how to do all of those things, where someone who's like 10, 15 years younger does. Are they as good at all of them, or can they be? Does it hurt the industry and the product you put out? I don't think it does at all. In fact, I think one of the important things is when you look at traversing the new platforms, right? We have 265 million social media followers. We now have 3 channels on Snapchat, right? Full-time channels. We have a team of dedicated people who are really good at knowing how to create content for 15, 16, 17, and 18-year-olds. So that's a new capability. I'm glad you brought that up. I wanted to ask you about that. So Snapchat's one example. There are others. Facebook, I guess, is the bigger and the more traditional example. But how about monetizing what you do there? Take Snapchat first. So you put a lot of product on there. Do you make money doing that? We do. So Snapchat has built a pretty impressive ad revenue platform that's growing nicely, and that they're participating in those revenue streams with their partners like us. So yeah, we're seeing big audiences and we're seeing growing revenues there. Okay. And that gets bigger in the future. Do you think their model works, Snapchat in particular, before I ask you about some of the others? The thing I think that's working for Snapchat is that they have a highly engaged audience that's hard to reach. So when you talk to an advertiser, that's what really intrigues them most. Worry that goes away. That there's something that's the hot thing for a few months, and you guys spend a ton of money to develop something, and you're like, oh, let me put this product on this new system, and the next thing you know, the kids are onto something else. You know what's interesting about that is you have to be prepared to create content for big platforms, and you also have to be prepared for some of them working over time and some of them not. You can't just place bets and think you're going to be right 100% of the time. So one of the things we're doing at our company is making sure we're being judicious about it. But if we think there's a platform that's big and has growth opportunities, we are going to partner with them. Okay, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Is the big one, right? Yeah, we have a great relationship with Facebook. You do? That's what I wanted to ask you about. Is Facebook a rival for a media company like you, or a partner? It's funny. I like to say the frenemy term, right? So I've heard that. I mean, a lot of people say that. What does that actually mean in the business? Clearly there are times when we're competing with each other on advertising revenue. We think we have a really interesting value proposition.
They're obviously a tremendous company that's doing very well in that space. But we have content, which they don't have.
They pay you for it?
What we do with them is one of our biggest digital advertising revenue growth stories, and probably our biggest piece of business in digital revenue going forward, is branded and native content, where we partner with advertisers. We then take all that content and have it live on all of our owned and operated properties, but then we also have it ride on social. So as Facebook grows, we actually create tremendous revenue.
They know how big they are, right? And then I feel like to some extent they want to get as, I mean, who can blame them? But they want to get as much as they can and pay as little for it as they possibly have.
You know, they've been really good partners to us, and they're finding ways. They understand that their partners need to win too. So we've actually found them to be really great partners. I think one of the things that's helping us right now in the marketplace is with a lot of this challenge of fake news and with environments that aren't necessarily safe for advertisers, we're seeing a real move back to flight to quality. We have premium environments and safe environments, and advertisers want to be around content that has that premium
that they trust,
that they trust.
Well, even in that space, we talked about it. Like Neil was talking about it on this show with the challenge, I think, for you guys or for, you know, for us, for whoever, is to try to get as many people interested in what you're doing as possible, because the environment is so large. So when you talk about covers of magazines, even covers of, say, Time magazine, for example, and we'll show this one with President Trump, you know, the old idea, this is provocative, right, to say that the president's lazy boy. A lot of pushback for that. There's the Time magazine cover that Neil had talked about some time ago, also provocative. Is that kind of more of the idea, to be more provocative in 2017 than you had to be so many years ago?
You know, I think in older days, the use case for Time magazine was to actually give people the news, because we didn't have the news cycle we have today.
They're not reading it. No, I get that.
So today it's about creating debate and and helping create insights and giving people the tools to be able to debate. And if that means we have to be provocative sometimes or are provocative, I think that's good, because it incites debate.
So is the priority to do that as opposed to, you know, give exclusive content that breaks some sort of story that nobody else is breaking?
It's always a combination. Absolutely a combination of both. We still have incredible relationships in Washington and New York. We have journalists who are some of the best in the business. So we always are looking to break content and always creating high quality content. But we also want our users to think. And the users who go to our properties are that kind of user.
Final thing, what do you think of this environment? The president goes after media companies every day of the week. What do you think?
Yeah. Look, you know, I think the fake news push is detrimental, right? We obviously think we create incredibly important journalism that's of high quality. At the end of the day, you have to just keep focused. You have to just keep your eye on the prize and understand that there are twists and turns in our industry, but you have to stay focused.
That hurt the business, though?
I don't think fake news is a positive for the business at all, right? What's been good for us is the news cycle has been so important that it's making a lot of people now go to news who never did. We're seeing audiences we've never seen. Time.com had the highest audience in their history in the first quarter. So that's the positive side of it.
It's good talk. Obviously, we're more interested maybe than just about anybody else. It's what we do, right? But I think a lot of people are. Thank you, Rich.
Thanks so much.
Rich Battista, Time Inc. He's the president and the CEO of the company.